Welcome to Excel and Business Math video number 41. Hey, in this video, we got to talk about the difference between percentage markup on cost and percentage markup on sell price. Manufacturers like Gel Boomerangs, manufacturing boomerangs, likes to talk about markup on cost. How many pennies do we have to add to every $1 of the cost to get to the list price? Whereas percentage markup on sell price, that's a retail store. They're interested in, for every $1 that comes into the cash register, how many pennies went to markup. That's what covers costs and profits, and how many pennies went to cost. Now we have to start off by going and talking about the two different sides, the cost side and the sell price side. Let's go over to the sheet, two sides. Now the cost side, Gel Boomerangs manufactures and distributes boomerangs. The manufacturer or distributor, they see everything in terms of cost. So the cost, also known as wholesale cost, we'll say it's $13.72 for one Bell Boomerang. Gel Boomerangs sells at a wholesale cost, or just simply cost, to the customer Kite Flight. That's a retail store. Now there's many synonyms for cost. Cost, wholesale cost, cost of goods sold, net cost, and wholesale price. We're going to use cost. And the final cost would include the trade discount, cash discounts, shipping, and insurance. Now the sell price side, Kite Flight is a retail store. Kite Flight buys kites, boomerangs, and toys and sells to the final customer. Kite Flight is a retailer, and retailers see everything in terms of the sell price. Sell price, list price, we're going to use sell price, $24.95. So Kite Flight sells the Bell Boomerang to the final customer for $24.95. Now, both of these numbers, the cost and the sell price, both companies use both of those numbers. But as we'll see, when we calculate percent markup, the cost side, manufacturers and distributors, will use the cost in the denominator, whereas the retailers will use the sell price in the denominator. Now, many synonyms for sell price, list price, selling price, retail price, will use sell price. Also, the final sell price would include any sales, reductions, markdowns, or markups. Now, we want to go talk about the dollar markup before we talk about the percentage markup. So let's go over to the sheet, dollar markup. Now, both the manufacturers and the retailers see the dollar markup in the same way. Sell price, $24.95. Cost, $13.72. We can calculate the markup if we're given sell price and cost. We simply take sell price minus the cost. Now, markup, there are many synonyms for markup. It could be markup, dollar markup, margin, or gross profit. Not only that, but remember, we used these same exact numbers in video 27 for trade discounts. List price, wholesale cost, we simply subtracted them, exactly the same calculation we just did for markup, but there we called it the trade discount. In the context of an invoice and a wholesale catalog, that's the term you use. When you're making percentage markup calculations, though, we use different terms: sell price, cost, markup, and here are a few other synonyms. Here's the visual. There's the total sell price, markup, and cost. Notice those are two parts that make up the whole. If the retailer uses this as a base, we're going to have two parts, and we can easily compare using division each one of the parts. As we'll see on our next sheet, when we make that calculation, if you're using cost as the base, then it looks like an increase problem where you're increasing the markup to get to some end value or sell price. But the dollar calculation, whether we solve for markup, cost, sell price, is going to be the same regardless if you're coming from the cost side or the sell price side. Markup, we already did this. We take the sell price minus the cost and enter. If we're given sell price and the markup, we can certainly calculate the cost. We say, hey, please give me the sell price and subtract out the markup. The remaining amount, that's the cost. If we're given cost and markup, we simply add them to get the sell price. I'm going to use Alt equals, that's the sum function, and redirect and enter. So those are the dollar calculations. Now let's go over to the sheet. Percent markup depends on the side. Now, manufacturers and retailers see the percentage markup calculation differently. Gel Boomerangs thinks of everything in terms of their selling price, which is wholesale cost or cost. Remember, Gel Boomerangs manufactures the boomerangs. When they sell it to Kite Flight, that actually is their sell price, but it is the cost. They even refer to it as wholesale cost. We're going to refer to it as cost. Kite Flight, on the other hand, sees everything in terms of their selling price, which is list price or sell price. This means when they get to expressing things like percentages, they each use a different base or begin. Now, Gel Boomerangs and most manufacturers and distributors use cost as the denominator or begin value. That means this. In this diagram, if that's the begin value, if I add some amount, that makes this an increase problem until we get to the end part, which is the full sell price. This means that the percent expresses everything in terms of $1 of cost. It doesn't matter if we take the change part markup or the end part sell price. When we calculate those percentages, it will tell us how many pennies of markup for every $1 of cost and how many pennies of sell price for every $1 of cost. For the retailers, Kite Flight and most retailers, they use the sell price as the denominator or base. That means if this is the denominator, we have two different parts. We can take markup and divide it by sell price. That actually gives us percent markup on sell price. We're also allowed to take the other part, cost, as a percentage of sell price. The point is, percentage markup on cost is going to be different than percentage markup on sell price. Now let's look at our two examples. Manufacturer Gel Boomerang, of course, uses percentage markup on cost. Sell price, cost markup. Here's our percentage markup on cost equals, notice, in the numerator is markup. And now we divide by, and the denominator is the cost. When I hit enter, the meaning of that number, percent markup on cost, is how many pennies of markup for every $1 of cost. Well, if that's the meaning of it, let's go ahead and try. Let's calculate sell price, assuming we only have the cost and the percentage markup on cost. So here's what the wholesaler would do. They know what the cost is, so they take the cost. They know what their percentage markup on cost is, so they say times, in parentheses, there's the $1 plus percentage markup on cost. Close parentheses and enter. And there we have our sell price. Not only that, but we could calculate not just markup compared to cost, but we're totally allowed to calculate sell price compared to cost. Here we would say sell price, and we would divide it by cost. Now notice we get exactly what we calculated in here. Many times the businesses know the cost, and they themselves define what the percentage markup on cost should be. So they use this formula to calculate sell price. But of course, if we had the sell price and the cost, we would just do that division, and it would give us $1 plus our markup on cost. Now this is from the manufacturers or distributors or cost side. Now let's do a similar calculation from the retailer side. Kite Flight uses percentage markup on sell price. And we'll use this diagram again here. Well, this is the big part. We're going to compare markup. So equals the markup. That's the same numerator we used on the cost side, but now we're going to divide it by a different denominator. When I hit enter, that tells me how many pennies of markup for every $1 of sell price. Now, if we know the sell price and the percentage markup on sell price, we can calculate one of the two parts. We'll calculate markup equals, well, there's our percentage or our decimal or our percentage markup on sell price times sell price, and that will give me the amount of the markup. Up here, we compared the markup to the denominator sell price. Down here, let's compare cost. Equals, here's the other part divided by the same denominator. When I hit enter, that's percentage cost on sell price. These two numbers will always add up to 100% because cost and markup, when they're added together, that equals sell price. Now we can calculate cost equals, well, there's percentage cost on sell price times the sell price. And when I hit enter, that gives me exactly the cost. Now we want to recognize something here. From everything we've learned in the class so far, and looking at this diagram, when cost is the denominator, that's this right here, it's an increase problem. The markup, we go up, 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 some change part to get to some end part. So you can use this diagram right here. You can also use, these are all the formulas we saw from video 23. In video number 20, we saw what was called the percentage formula or the part base rate formulas. And we used a diagram like this to be able to figure out what formulas to use. But we want to recognize from this beautiful diagram right here, this is the base. There's the picture right here. So we have two individual parts that make up a whole. So when we see that relationship, we know we can use the part base rate formulas or this chart right here. All right, now let's go summarize on the sheet. Percent markup C or SP. Percentage markup on cost, that's used by the wholesalers and the manufacturers. And they see percentage markup on cost as how many pennies do we have to add to $1 to get the rate. We need to multiply by our cost to get our sell price. Percentage markup on cost, that's number of pennies for every $1 of cost. Percentage markup on sell price, that's from the retailer's point of view. They like to think of dollars that come into the cash register. There's the cash register right there. And that percent markup on sell price, that's how many pennies went to markup. And then the remaining number of pennies from that dollar goes to cost. All right, now we want to go see how to use these formulas in a few different problems. All right, let's click on the sheet, percentage markup on cost. Here's our problem. If the cost of a baseball glove is $12.75 and the company uses a 72% markup on cost, what is the sell price? Now, this is a great problem because this is typically how it works. They know the cost for the product they made. They know what they want their markup to be, markup on cost specifically, and they need to determine sell price or list price. Now, the trick to this is, as soon as I see markup on cost, I know that cost is going to be the denominator. Key, it says markup on cost. And we know because it's markup on cost, we know the cost is going to be the denominator. We also should recognize this as an increase problem because we're going to go from cost up some markup amount to an end amount to get our sell price. Now, I'm going to type the data here. The item, this is going to be a baseball glove, and enter. The first bit of information, what is our cost? So cost is going to be $12.75. That will be our begin amount. We're also given, so percentage markup on cost, and that is 72.00. Oh, I already had that pre-formatted, 72%. Our goal is to calculate the sell price. So for the sell price, if we remember the percentage markup on cost. The meaning of that is those are the 72 extra pennies for every $1 of 12.75. Then we can go straight to our formula. Equals in parentheses, there's the $1 plus 72 pennies for every $1. And we're going to multiply that times our cost. And that will be our sell price, $21.93. That's the meaning method. But guess what? If we didn't remember that, we would just look up the formula. N part equals begin times 1 plus ROC. Now, we are using the proper term in this context, percentage markup on cost. But remember, we're going up, 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 up. So that really is our rate of change. Now, this is the same formula we just did. We took, hey, there's the cost times in parentheses 1 plus our rate of change. Now, we can also calculate straight out the rate equals 1 plus, and that's our 72%. We could have also, instead of going straight to our sell price, hey, this is percentage markup on cost. If I take that times the cost, it'll give me the amount of the markup. So I'm going to do that formula. Hey, there's the cost. That's the begin amount times our percentage markup on cost. That is $9.18. We then could have calculated our sell price by simply taking, hey, there's the cost plus our markup. So given cost and percentage markup, we can either go straight to sell price or we can calculate markup and then add it to our cost. Now let's go look at our next example, percentage markup on sell price. Now here's the example here. If the sell price for the TV is $799.95 and the percentage markup on sell price is 27.5%, what is the cost? The key is going to be to recognize it says markup on sell price. That means our denominator is going to be sell price. And since it is sell price in the denominator, we want to recognize this as a part-based rate problem because that sell price has two parts, cost and markup. Now, let's just read the problem and enter the data. The item, we're selling a TV. It looks like they gave us the sell price. Sell price is $799.95. And we're given percent markup on sell price, and that is 27.5%. Looks like that's pre-formatted. And enter. Now, this is going to be our base. This is percentage markup on sell price, but it's one of the possible rates. Remember, we have two parts. Well, we could just jump right to solving for cost if we recognize that that represents number of pennies in $1 for markup. If that's the pennies for markup, then the pennies for cost is the whole dollar that comes into the cash register minus the number of pennies for markup. Multiply times our sell price. And when I hit enter, there is the cost, $579.96. Now, I'm not going to round these because we're going to use them in check numbers, and we want everything to come out perfectly. Now, that's one of the parts. The other part is the markup, the dollar amount. Well, I'm given number of pennies of markup, so I simply multiply it by all of the sell price, and there is markup. We can check the sell price by simply adding alt equals. I'll redirect, and it better give me $799.95. Yes, it does. Now, up here, we were given percent markup, but we can calculate percent cost on our base, which is sell price, equals, and there is the cost divided by the base. It better give us exactly 72.5%. And it does. All right, let's go over to the sheet more, and we have two more problems to look at. Now, here's our third example. If the markup for a Lego set is $15 and the percentage markup on sell price is 55%, what is the sell price? Well, we're given the amount of the markup and the percentage markup on sell price. So it looks like we have an associated part and associated rate. Now, as always, it's key. Sell price, that's the denominator. So the base or the denominator is sell price. And because it's sell price and we have two parts, we're going to recognize this as a part base rate problem. Now, dollar markup, that's 15 and enter. Percentage markup on sell price, 55%. Notice that's pre-formatted. And enter. We can use this diagram if we want. We're trying to get back to our base. We have one of the parts and one of the rates, so we can simply do our division. Equals, there's the part divided by the rate. And when I hit enter, $27.27. We can calculate the cost too because we have the whole, we have one of the parts. So when we say equals the whole amount minus the other part, that will give us the cost part. The only piece we're missing is percent cost on sell price. Well, we have cost now, so in the numerator, cost divided by, and there's the sell price we just calculated. And when I hit enter, it better be the complement. So when I add these two together, I get 100%. And sure enough, I do. Now, our next example, here it is. If the cost for a boomerang is $13.72 and the percentage markup on cost is 54.99%, what is the dollar markup? Now, the key, of course, is there's the word cost. So that's our denominator. For us, it'll be our begin amount. We're going to recognize this as an increase problem because we have a cost. We're going to go up some amount as markup to get to our sell price. The problem doesn't ask us for sell price. It's asking us for dollar markup. No problem. We can still calculate our sell price. The cost, 13.72 and enter. Percentage markup on cost, 54.99. It's pre-formatted, so that percent symbol comes up. And enter. Well, guess what? This is a cost problem. Here's our percentage markup on cost. That's how many pennies markup should be for every $1 of cost. So we can go ahead and calculate the markup dollar amount, percentage markup on cost times, and there is the cost. So it looks like $7.54. Again, I'm going to leave it unrounded because I want all of our numbers as we check to be exactly right on. Now the sell price is easy. We have two parts equals the begin amount plus the change part. That's the amount that we went up, and enter. So our sell price should be $21.26. Now up here we were given percent markup on cost, but we can definitely calculate percent sell price on cost equals, there's the sell amount. That's the numerator divided by the denominator cost. And when I hit enter, I better get exactly 1.5499, and I do. All right, so that's a lot of fun with markup on cost, markup on sell price. There are some homework problems. There's 6 homework problems for you to practice. And very importantly, we talked about percentage markup on cost. We look at the formulas for those. That's what the manufacturers and the distributors use. Markup on cost represents, hey, how much to add to that $1 of cost to help us get our sell price. And the percentage markup on price, retailers like to think about those dollars coming into the cash register. For every $1, which part is markup and which part is cost. And on this sheet right here, we saw this great chart. Cost, that means it's going to be an increase problem because the markup's going up. If it's sell price in the denominator, that means there's two parts compared to the whole. There's a chart of formulas for your increase problems and that cool diagram from video number 20 for a part base rate problem. Now, if you like that video, be sure to click that thumbs up, leave a comment, and sub, because there's always lots more videos to come from Excel is Fun. We'll see you next video.